Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Our webinar today is going to be based on intermediate grammar lesson number 1 on present perfect continuous. So before we begin, I would like to make sure that you can hear me and that you can see me. Please type yes if everything is okay. Type yes in the chat window, please, so that I know that everything is as it should be. Hello, Sylvia. Hello, Ivona. Hello, Agnieszka. It's nice to see you on this webinar. I'm glad that everything is okay. Okay. Hello, Alicia. Hello, Beata. Okay, great. So we're beginning. My name is Joanna Dębowska. I have been teaching. Okay, great. Hello, Agnieszka. Hello, Magda. I have been teaching English for over 15 years, and for a few months I have been with Tutlo. And as I said, our webinar is going to be based on one of our grammar lessons. Just do not be misled by the fact that by the number, because it's number 1, but it doesn't mean that this is the first lesson in our grammar course. If you go to our grammar course, you just have to open it and scroll down. You will see intermediate grammar lesson number 1 on present perfect continuous. Hi, Symphony. How, Patricia? Because this is the first lesson of 3. That's why it has number 1. Okay. Our webinar, as usual, is going to last for about 25-30 minutes, I think closer to 25, but we will see how it gets. And at the end of the webinar, I am going to run 2 short poll questions. Okay, so our webinar, as I have just said, is going to be about the present perfect continuous tense. For those of you who are not very happy about grammar names, we can just say that we're going to discuss sentences like I have been doing something, he has been doing something. So this structure, when we use it, how we form it. So we're going to discuss the form, the use. We're going to have a look at some examples. We are also going to have a look at words for and since, which often come together with the present perfect continuous, and they are often confused. So we're going to discuss the differences between them. So let's have a look at the first 2 examples. Hello, Grażyna. So he has been standing here for 3 hours. For so long. He has been standing and standing and standing, right? Maybe 3 hours don't seem such a long time for you, but if you imagine that you have to just stand without any movement, and he has been standing for 3 hours, this might really seem very long, right? Maybe his legs already hurt. He has been standing here since 8 o'clock, because let's say that now it's 11 o'clock. So he has been standing here for 3 hours since 8 o'clock. Quite a long time to stand like this. Now look at those people. For so long. They have been watching him for so long, for 30 minutes. Now, 30 minutes is, of course, not as long as 3 hours, but maybe it's quite a long time to watch someone. Maybe they're fascinated by the fact that he has been standing without movement. That's why they have been watching him and watching him and watching him for 30 minutes. Or we can say that they have been watching him since 10:30, because now, as I have just said, let's say that now it's 11, okay? So they have been watching him since 10:30. And now I think we are ready to discuss the use of the present perfect continuous tense. Okay, so the present perfect tenses are a little bit complicated for foreigners and I think for Polish people, because they are in a way a mix of a tense which relates to the present and to the past. Actually, if you look at the sentences we have just had, they would be translated into Polish as the present tense. So in Polish, we would say On tam stoi od 3 godzin, or oni patrzą na niego od 30 minut, right? So in Polish, we would say it in the present tense, but to translate it into English in the present tense would be a mistake. Remember, when we talk about something which started in the past and has been continuing, and is still continuing now, we have to use the present perfect continuous tense. That's the idea of perfect tenses. They started in the past and they are still continuing. So the first use, we use the present perfect continuous for an action which began in the past and is still continuing, so is still going on. For example, look at that woman. She's a super strong woman. She has been running and running and running. She started in the morning and she's still running. Not very probable, but maybe. Okay, maybe she's a superwoman. So she has been running, right? She started in the past and has been running. This action has been going on and is still going on because it's the sunset and she is still running. Now, the second use of the present perfect continuous is actually very similar to the first one. We can use it to talk about an action which started in the past and has been going on and on and on and has just now finished, maybe a second ago, maybe a moment ago, a minute ago. So it's as if something started in the past and then has been going on, and now at this very moment, it has just finished. So for example, here we have another runner. She has been running for 2 hours. So she's not a superwoman, but she's a sporty woman, a fit woman. So she has been running for 2 hours and she has just finished. So now she's not running anymore, but she has been running for a very long time. And now a second ago, she stopped. Okay. Yes. So now, how do we form the present perfect continuous tense? We have to use the person, or actually the person or the object, but usually we use the person as a subject in this tense. Then we use has or have, and then been, and we add the ending ing to the verb. Now, I hope that you know when we use has or have, but if you're not sure, let me remind you that we use has in the third person singular. So we use it with he, she, it, or for example, my sister, my teacher, my friend, right? And we use have with all the other persons, like for example, we, I, you, they, my brothers, if I have to, for example, right? So coming back to our sentences from the beginning, he has been standing, right? But they have been watching. So it's easy. You don't even have to know the third form of the verb or any form for that matter. You just have to know have been, has been, plus the verb plus ing. Okay. So let's have a look at some more examples so that you really get the idea behind the tense, this tense. The cook has been cooking for an hour, so long, right? So he has been cooking, and I am so hungry, but he has been cooking. His cooking started in the past and is still continuing now, and my hunger is also continuing. I have been waiting for an hour. I want to eat, right? So my waiting started an hour ago. And actually my hunger maybe even earlier, right? And so it started an hour ago and I have been waiting, and I'm still waiting. And he has been cooking, and he is still cooking. Okay. Now it's your turn now. Okay, here we have a dog with a very similar problem to me. The dog is very hungry and actually very sad because the dog doesn't know if it's going to get any food at all. Please make a sentence about the dog dreaming about something to eat, right? So let's say the dog started dreaming 30 minutes ago. try to type a sentence, the dog, right? Saying that the dog is still dreaming. Okay, great, perfect. That's right, exactly. Anyone else? Yes, very good. The dog has been dreaming about something to eat. Very good, great. And the dog is hungry and sad. Now the second situation. Now we have a grumpy cat, because cats are a little bit different than dogs, maybe. And the dog is not sad. The cat is not sad. The cat, very good, has been dreaming. The cat is angry, not just hungry, but angry, and is still looking at its owner. It started looking when the hunger started, and it's still looking. Please make a sentence with the cat telling us that the cat started looking at the owner in the past and is still looking. Okay, so another sentence. Very good, perfect. That's right, exactly. That's right. The cat has been looking at its owner. Perfect. And I must have been really hungry when I was preparing this webinar. Here we have another cook. So 2 more sentences. He, about him cooking, and make a sentence that in fact he was not doing, or I'm not going to tell you. So try to finish these 2 sentences. So he, before we had the cat and now the little cook. How do you make sentences about the little cook? Who is cooking, but actually he's eating now, and that's the same thing. The same thing was happening. Very good, perfect. That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. He has been cooking and he has been eating. Okay, so I see you know it very well. You know the structure very well. Let's have a look at the answers just so that they get very well into our memory. The cat has been looking at its owner. The dog has been dreaming about something to eat. He has been cooking. Well, in fact, he has been eating. Okay, and now we are ready now to go on to the second part of our discussion, the differences between for and since. As you could see in our previous examples, or in some of our previous examples, for and since are often used with the present perfect continuous tense, and they are often confused because actually both of them can be translated into Polish in the same way. So they're confused by Polish people, but I think that not just by Polish people. Anyway, so we use for to talk about the period of time which has passed since we started doing something. So, for example, coming back to our example with the Queen's Guard at the Buckingham Palace, he has been standing for 3 hours. So, at 8 o'clock he started, and he has been standing for 3 hours, and the 3 hours is this period which has passed since 8 o'clock till now. For 3 hours. So you can imagine for as the time, as the length, right? The period of time which passed. So some examples: for 3 hours, for a month, for a long, long time, for many, many years, right? And now let's go to since. Since refers to the point in time when the action started. So coming back to the example with the soldier, we say since 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock is the point in time when standing started, right? So since this point, since 8 o'clock. Some other examples: since 12 o'clock, since Monday, since the 18th of November, right? So these are typical dates, and these are typical times, days. However, we can also use since with sentences which in a way describe the point in time, right? So for example, since they were born, we can say we haven't been sleeping a lot since they were born. Okay, so they were born is like a point in time. Or I could say I have been studying English since I went to school. So I went to school is like this point in time when it started. Or I can even say I have been learning English since 3 years ago. So you can even use the expression 3 years ago with since with the present perfect continuous tense. And now let's have, but coming back maybe to what I have just said, both for and since can be translated into Polish as od, right? So we can say od 12, but we can say od kilku godzin, od roku, od wielu miesięcy, od tygodnia, od kiedy się urodziłem, right? So in Polish it's always od, but in English this od has to be translated into for or since, depending whether we are talking about a point in time when it started or about the period of time when it has been happening. Let's have a look at some more examples. Okay, so we're coming back to our pets, actually to cats. I like cats. I hope you're not allergic to cats and you won't start sneezing. Okay, so go away. It's my armchair. I have been sitting in this armchair for 6 hours, right? So 6 hours, that's a long period. That's the period of time when I have been sitting, right? Or I have been sitting in this armchair since early morning, right? So then early morning is treated as a point in time. Maybe it was 6 o'clock, for example, and I have been sitting for 6 hours since 6 o'clock, and now it's 12, right? So 6 hours is the period of time between 6 and 12, and early morning is the moment when it started, when the cat's sitting started, and now it's his armchair or her armchair or its armchair. Now, a lazy teddy, or maybe just a tired teddy. The tired teddy, but maybe very lazy. Maybe he's not tired. Okay, he has been doing nothing since he came home. So have a look. Another interesting example when a sentence is actually like when an action is a point in time, right? So he came home. That's the point, right? And then since this point, he has been doing nothing, right? Doing nothing since he came home. But we can also talk about the period when he has been doing nothing. And then we say he has been sitting and eating for the whole evening. So the whole evening is this period of time when he's sitting, eating, and doing nothing has been happening. Okay, so now I hope you're ready to answer these questions here. So for them, you do not really have to write a lot, just write F or S, F for and S for since. I will be just telling you the number. So number 1, 2006. Please type F or S. Is it for or since 2006? Do not be shy. Just type F or S in number 1. 2006. Is it a point in time or is it a period of time? Very good. Exactly. Since 2006. Perfect. Now, great. Monday. Number 2. Now, number 2. Is it since Monday or for Monday? A point of time or a period of time? Monday. Don't be shy, just type S. Perfect. Number 2, number 1 since, number 2 since. Very good. Okay, now, next one, a week. Number 3 now. Number 3, a week. Is it F or is it S? Number 3. Now number 3. Number 3. Number 2 was since. How about number 3? Very good. Number 3. A week is a period of time. So, of course, this is 4. Okay, perfect. Now we're going on to number 4. My birthday. My birthday. Is it S or is it F? My birthday. Number 4, right? Number 4. My birthday. Perfect. Yes, that's right. Since my birthday. Since my birthday. And actually, my birthday is on the 4th of November. So, number 5. Is it S or F? Number 5. Now, number 5. S or F in number 5. What do you think? Number 5. Is it S or F? Please type 5. Yes, that's right. Number 5 is since. Since the 4th of November, because it's a date, a point in time. Okay, very good. Next one, many days. Many days. Many days, number 6. Is it F or is it S? Many days. What do you think? F or S? Many days. What would you write? Very good. Perfect. Perfect. Oleg, perfect. Everybody, I'm sorry, I'm not, yes, telling your names. Yes, because there are so many. Great. 4 many days. Very good. And the last one, 7, 3 years ago. Number 7 now. Number 7, 3 years ago. Is it S or is it F? 3 years ago. What do you think? Is it S or is it F? Here, yeah. Okay. Yes, 3 years ago is a point, right? So since 3 years ago. If we said just 3 years, then we would say for 3 years. But if we have 3 years ago, this is a point. 3 years ago, it was exactly 3 years ago. It was the 31st of October 3 years ago, right? Okay, very good. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the answers, right? Since 2006, since Monday, for a week, since my birthday, since the 4th of November, for many days, and since 3 years ago. I think the last one is the most tricky, right? But 3 years ago, it was a point in time because it was the 31st of November 2016, right? So this was the point in time. If I said 3 years, then we would have to say for 3 years. And the last task for you. Now, please write a sentence about you watching this webinar and 7 o'clock. Okay? So make a sentence about you watching the webinar and 7 o'clock. How would you make a sentence telling me or telling someone else actually that you started and you are still watching the webinar and you started at 7? Try to type a sentence. I know it's long, so perfect. Very, very good. That's right. Very good. Very good. I have been watching the webinar since 7 p.m. Great. And I'm glad you have been enjoying it. Okay, perfect. Now, please make one more sentence, the last task for you today, about you studying with Tutlo. Okay, and give me the period of time. So please tell me how long. No, do not tell me the date when you started being our student. Please tell me how long. Okay. Oh, Andre, you have been eating breakfast since 7 o'clock. Or do you mean maybe dinner? Okay, but okay, now it's actually very interesting for me also to see how long. Very good. Anyone else? Beata has been studying with Tutlo for a month. How about the others? How long have you been studying with Tutlo. Sylvia has been studying for a few months, for 2 weeks, for 2 months. Great. Great. That's right. Exactly. So you're perfect. And since September here, we have one since. I see you're perfect students because you're getting the knowledge very well. Oh, and Andrzej has been eating since 7, but but I still don't know if Andrzej has been eating breakfast or has been eating dinner, because breakfast, do you mean 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.? Breakfast is the morning, in general, in the morning. Interesting, unless Andrzej is maybe in some other country now with a different time zone. Okay, good. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask me, okay? Our webinar is slowly coming to an end. So if you have any doubts, if there is something which is not clear, you can type it now. Okay, and now, what have we been doing today? What have we been studying during our webinar? Of course, we have been studying the present perfect continuous tense. Alicia has been studying with Tutlo since the end of August. Great. The present perfect continues to talk about things that began in the past and are still continuing or have just finished. Okay. And we have been talking about the differences between for and since. I am glad that you found it clear, and I hope that now you will be able to use it perfectly well. So now it's time for me to run 2 short poll questions. I will be most grateful if you could answer them. Was the webinar useful? Please answer. Thank you very much. And now the second poll question, please. Would you like to take part in similar events in the future? Okay, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have a webinar with you this evening, and I wish you a very happy Halloween and a very nice long weekend. Do not forget to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Thank you.